I just want to share something with you all first, if that's okay. On Thursday, my dad, and yes, most of you know who my dad is, the guy with the funny thing, his throat completely closed up, so he couldn't take on water, food. Most importantly, he couldn't take his drugs to stop his epilepsy. So I tried to talk him into going into the hospital. He wasn't budging, stubborn as he is. Eventually, Friday, I managed to talk him into it. I said, pack your overnight bag, we're going in the morning. So he came to me in the morning, we rushed off down to the accident unit. He'd emailed the nurse, there's a nurse that he constantly talks to, and he emailed her, he said, get yourself to the accident unit, so that's what we did. Now luckily, it wasn't full. You know, you got that image of accident units, don't you? You're going to be waiting forever. But there was barely anybody in. I thought, wow, brilliant. So we went to see you go to see the nurse first, they assess you, and then you wait for a doctor. So we briefly saw the nurse, and I said to the nurse, I said, the only thing that worries me, nurse, is he hasn't been able to take his drugs, and he could have a fit at any time. He's highly epileptic. And we just sat down, and of course, the inevitable happened. He had a fit in the reception area. So obviously, we went straight in to the A&E then. He'll do anything, jump the queue. So we went straight in, and of course, they got the drug down him and everything else, and the doctor came to assess him, and he's the ENT doctor, because he has a throat stretch every 3 months, you see, because his throat closes up. But he hadn't contacted them because it's been fine, and all of a sudden it closes up on Thursday, didn't it? So anyway, I didn't leave the hospital till he'd got settled in, and all the doctors knew what drugs he was taking, and he was sorted. And then on Sunday morning, you know, as we were praying, I prayed for Pipe, and Karen did, and I believe you prayed on Sunday evening. We went to see him on Sunday evening, we got there about 6:30, didn't we? And, hi Dad, how are you doing? You know, looking really well. And he got up and he said, you're not going to believe this. And I said, what? He said, well, I went outside, a bit of fresh air, and my mouth filled up with spit, which it will, because you can't swallow, you know. And he said, I swallowed it. I said, you're kidding me? And I looked at Karen looked at me, and we would, really? And then he said, look, and he got a glass of water and he drank it. Praise the Lord. Amazing. And I just said to him, the power of prayer, Dad, every time. So thanks for praying for him, and thank you, Lord. Right, so I'll make a start now, so I'll share that with you. I'm going to make this short and simple, so here I am. And I just want to say it's been a magical journey over this month. It really has, and I'm honoured to share this Bible study with all of you, because last week was amazing, wasn't it? It was absolutely brilliant, and it's been a miracle, really, and the word has been amongst in this church, especially over the last month. Tim's guidance, Mandy's songs, it's just been fantastic. It's nothing short of a miracle, really. And if I pull this off, this will be a miracle, trust me. So before I started, I said to the Lord, I was very, very nervous about it. I said, Lord, they were brilliant last week. I said, how am I going to pull this off? I've only been saved 2 years. I said, and what came back to me was, just tell them what you get from it, El. And I said, do you know, that's a really good idea. Thanks, matey. Thank you for that. So this is what I got out of Ruth. For me, Ruth is a story of emptiness to fulfillment, destitution to security and hope, kindness, sacrifice, and love through the God-blessed actions of Ruth and Boaz. It's based around three main people, really, Ruth, Naomi, and Boaz. It was in a time when Israel was ruled by judges, and a time of moral degradation, oppression, and famine in the land. The book starts with Naomi and her husband. Now, I never can pronounce this. I'm going to give it a go. All right. Emelech. Yeah? Yeah? That close? Right, okay. Thank you. Okay. So, and they go and live in Moab, and raise a family. But tragedy and emptiness sets in quite early on, doesn't it? And she loses her husband, and later on her 2 sons, and she's left with a daughter-in-law. So the emptiness at this part is complete. She can't go any lower, really, at this point. Obviously, she hears that in the land of Israel, where she's from, she obviously hears that the Lord is providing food for his people. So on hearing this, they set off on the journey. But obviously, as they're going along, this jumps out to me, the first sacrifice, really. Naomi has got company, but she chooses to tell them to turn back. It's a small sacrifice, but it's a sacrifice of love, isn't it? Because she knows that the young women did not got the best relationships with the Israelites. They're widowed, childless. It's a dangerous time. And thinking of them rather than herself, I need the company, I'm at a low point in my life. She tells them to turn back because she cares for them. Oprah, is that how would you pronounce that? Oprah? She turns back. It always reminds me of Oprah Winfrey. She turns back, but Ruth, the second sacrifice, for love, she stays with Naomi. And she refuses to go. Naomi tries everything. She refuses. And she refuses. She knows where she's going to. She knows it's dangerous, but she loves Naomi that much and wants to support her that much that she stays. Devotion, love, sacrificing. She could have stayed with her own mum and dad back there, stayed in the comfort zone, but no, for love, she sacrifices. And, Jesus Christ sacrificed himself for us through love, didn't he? So they go back to Israel. Oh, sorry, I missed a bit there. And the one thing that jumped out on me here when Ruth was saying, and I'll just read it. It's chapter 1, verse 16, I think. My eyes are getting terrible. I'm going to have to get glasses. But Ruth replied, "Don't urge me to leave you or turn back from you. Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord deal with me, be it ever so severely, even if death separates you and me." To me, that's the Lord reaching out to the Gentile, because she was a Gentile. The Lord's reaching out just as Jesus reached out to the Gentile when he sacrificed himself. Not just to the Jew, but for the Gentile. Loves us all. So, where am I? So when they go back to Israel, obviously Naomi has the relative, and on the husband's side, which is Boaz, he's a man of standing, he owns land, so he's done okay for himself. And Ruth goes to work in those fields, and again it indicates the love that she's got for Naomi. She's in there working, she's behind everybody else, just a little bit of work, just anything I can get, so if we can get some food, we can, and she's just so looking after Naomi, it's unbelievable. And obviously, this attracts the attention of Boaz. And, the kindness that he shows when, Boaz asks her to work for him. It shows the kindness, like men not to lay a hand on her, to drink from the water jars that the men fill, to work with the other women. And he just treats us as equal, and Jesus treats everybody as an equal. And you can see Ruth falls in love with Boaz. There's a love story, it's a time when there's a lot of arranged marriages. This is a story of true love, this is a marriage of true love. And she's excited, isn't she? Oh, I've been in the field, met Boaz, you can imagine the scene, can't you, and everything else. And obviously, Naomi tells her to go and lie at the feet of Boaz. Now, that's his proposal of marriage. And what jumped out to me there was, what jumped out to me was, that's our marriage to God. So it's part of our marriage to God. We lie at his feet. Jesus is our guardian redeemer. But then the other thing that jumped out is, even though Boaz, he's got this virtual proposal of marriage from Ruth, they're in love, he still abides by the law, because there is one relative that's actually a closer relative, and who he's actually got the rights to the guardian redeemership. So rather than Boaz thinking, well, I'm in love with this woman, we're going to go off and do our thing, I'm going to be your guardian redeemer, he actually goes and follows the law, and he says to them, he gets the elders to sit at the gate, and he says, explains to the guy that he is the closer relative, and he can, it's his right to have the land, to buy the land, and along with it comes Ruth, but so does the family name. Now, one thing that struck me, I can't really know why, that the other guardian redeemer hasn't got a name. His name's never mentioned. That opens a lot of questions. And the other thing I didn't know, that to sell land in those days, it was customary to take a sandal off and give it to the other guy. Just threw that in, just to make it longer. Yeah. So, all these selfless acts, these God bless acts, and obviously they get married. They get married. And have a child. And you can see halfway through the story when Ruth is working the land and Boaz meets her and shows acts of kindness, the fulfillment is starting to come. And the things that jump out is sacrifice and love, as Jesus sacrificed himself. And I think to love and to truly love, you have to make sacrifices. And I think that's the message for today, in today's day. But the one thing that really jumps out to me in this is emptiness to fulfillment. And it says to me, I think we've all been empty at some point in our lives. But take a walk with the Lord and you will find fulfillment. And there's no better to fulfill than Naomi ends up with a child, an heir. Obed, is it pronounced? Obed? And what a blessing, because Obed is part of the genealogical part of King David and ultimately Jesus Christ. What a blessing that is. Anyway, that's it. Thank you.